Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Motor Yap special report. We're going to be getting into a lot of geopolitics in this video, so just be forewarned. Trust me, it all relates back to Formula One. Today I'm going to be talking about the current war with Iran and the situation in the Gulf states and the Middle East, and how that could eventually cancel a few of the F1 races coming up very soon, literally next month. And in fact, there's actually been a race that has been postponed already. The Qatar 1812, which is the 1,812 kilometer race, the opener to the World Endurance Championship season, has been delayed due to the security situation in Qatar, which is a country that has had a lot of attacks, a lot of Iranian attacks recently. It's definitely the right move, honestly. I'll be completely honest. The last thing we should really be doing in the middle of an active war zone is running a race, let alone a 6-hour plus event. So the race in Qatar was actually supposed to take place between the 26th and the 28th of March. Now that's a couple weeks away. We could very well still be at war by the time that date comes. Hell, we could be at war a year from now. Honestly, with this war, there's no good way to guess how long it's going to take. This war could end up like the last war last year, which only lasted 12 days. This war could also end up lasting years. So we honestly don't know what's going to happen. But going back to the race, calling it off and postponing it for later on in the year was definitely the right move. It sucks that we won't have the World Endurance Championship in March, but at the end of the day, I completely understand the situation at hand. It was the right thing to do. Putting the safety of everybody, the drivers, the spectators, the logistics, everybody involved. And speaking of racing events in the Gulf, we have the Bahrain GP, which takes place on April 12th. And then we also have the Saudi Arabia GP, which takes place on April 19th, which is a little more than a month away from both. And I honestly believe that the FIA is going to go ahead and postpone these events and maybe even canceling them. Unlike the WEC schedule, which there's months in between all the races, the Formula One calendar is jam-packed and logistics is way more complicated and it's on a much tighter deadline with Formula One than compared to WEC. So I can see these events just being canceled just out the gate. I hope that doesn't happen. I'd rather see them postponed than completely canceled. But if that's what has to happen, that's what's going to happen. And even though the FIA and, Formula One want to make as much money as possible, and the Gulf states pay a lot of money to the FIA and to Formula One to host races in their countries, I can see the FIA is going to put the safety of their spectators and of their racers first. There's no way they're going to race in a country where a major war is happening right now. Because there's bombs and drones falling on Bahrain, there's bombs and drones falling on Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Kuwait. Every single Gulf country is getting bombed right now. And even if for some insane reason these races don't get officially canceled, I'm willing to bet that the drivers are not going to go as well. And even if for some strange reason the FIA still wants to move ahead with these races, I could see all the drivers coming together and effectively boycotting it. We actually saw something similar play out a couple years ago in 2022 during the Jeddah Grand Prix. I'll actually talk about these guys in a little bit, but the Houthis basically sent a missile to an oil refinery about 11 kilometers away from the circuit in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, causing it to explode. And this happened in between, I believe, practice session 1 and 2. And the drivers came together in a meeting and basically said, hey, we don't feel safe. We really don't want to race. And to which the FIA basically talked to them about the, quote, consequences of not racing, which involved being denied an exit visa. And that was just with one missile hitting a site a couple miles away from the circuit. That wasn't necessarily during a war. I mean, it was during the Yemeni civil war, and the Saudi Arabian government's involvement in the Yemeni civil war is very complicated. I'm not going to talk about that, but that wasn't anywhere near to the extent of what's happening now. And also, these races haven't occurred yet. This happened right as they were already in the country. So I think to avoid all that happening and all that negative PR, I think the FIA is going to just cancel these races or postpone them. You're not going to get any negative PR for canceling these events when there's a war going on. And I know a lot of you are saying how the war could end before April, before these events happen. I still think they'll postpone the events. In the event that this war ends before Bahrain or Saudi Arabia, I can see these events being canceled regardless because of just the amount of logistics that it takes canceling an event or postponing an event and then trying to get logistics into countries that just fought a war is very difficult. Fly all the planes in, the cars in, all the people, all the spectators in, and a lot of these people are still not going to feel safe in a country that was just at war. And let's also not forget how the war with Iran may end, but Iran actually has a lot of proxies who they control who may still continue the fight. We're talking, like I said, the Houthis, the Hezbollah, a bunch of these other proxy groups that operate in and around the Persian Gulf or the Levant. They could still be attacking people. They could still be committing acts of terror in the region long after the war is over. So even though the war may end, technically, there's a good chance that the violence won't. And a lot of these proxy groups own Shahed drones, they own missiles, they have the capabilities of striking countries, even though they themselves are not state actors. So even if the war is officially over by the time these events happen, the security situation may still be very scary in this part of the world. But you can't even get into the countries right now. So even if they wanted to start planning and getting logistics, and planning for these events start way before the event actually happens, it probably would start around now. That they can't do that though, because they can't even get into the country because all the airports are shut down. You can't fly into Dubai, you can't fly into Qatar, you can't fly into Bahrain, you can't fly into Kuwait because all these countries' airports are closed because there's a war going on. And you just got to think about the insane logistics. I'm going to link a video down below in the description of just the insane logistics that take place in Formula One. And it's on a very tight schedule. It's very rigid. So just not being able to plan an event like a month before it happens could very well derail it. And then let's also not talk about just the ticket prices and people actually attending these events. If the war does end and the proxies aren't doing anything and the security situation returns to normal, I can still see these events not selling well because people would be afraid to go to a place that was just at war, even if the security situation is returned to normal. Now, could they replace these events? I feel like you can't just do a race last second in a different place. I'm sure the FIA is actually thinking of this right now. I would like to see some more races in Europe. Like the Nürburgring, I'd love to see them return to the Nürburgring.
All right, so I was in the middle of rendering this drawn, and it's coming out that the FIA and F1 are looking for backup options, with Imola and Portimao leading the list of potential replacements. Now, any of these places, Imola would be awesome. I'd love to see them go back to Imola, and a lot of the reporting is saying that these are the prime positions. So Imola definitely seems like the move. And Portimao would also be a really good location for a replacement F1 race. Like I said, I want to see more races in Europe, so these would be two welcome additions.
Hell, let's race at Pocono Raceway, the tricky triangle. Why not do a triangle race or an oval race? You can see the F1 cars do an oval race. If they don't want to do that, there's a road course at Pocono. I don't know if it's any good. I don't know if it's up to FIA standards. But fuck, let's just race at Pocono. Call it the Pennsylvania GP. Let's do the Pennsylvania GP instead. I think that'd be much better. Either way, F1 starts this weekend in Australia. What do you guys think about that? Who do you think is going to win in Australia? Be sure to leave your comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what driver you think is going to win in Australia. If you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. This is a special report. I'm out. I'll see you guys. My next video will be on Australia. Hopefully get that out by Monday. And yeah, let's hope that we can get this issue resolved in the Middle East quickly and that we can resume talking mainly about Formula One. I wasn't expecting to make a video on geopolitics and war 3 videos into this channel, but unfortunately it's affecting the sport we all love and I have to talk about it. That's it for me tonight. I'll see you all later. Have a good night, everybody.